This is the MEN2 Podcast with Scott and Mick. On today's episode, we talk about the demise of Melbourne's favourite vegan cafe, Microsoft's banning of the creator of Minecraft from its 10th anniversary celebrations, and the disappointment around James Faulkner's announcement that he's not gay.
A cafe that gives women priority seating and charges men more is making waves in Melbourne's inner north. The owner says the surcharge aims to address the gender pay gap.
If people aren't comfortable with paying it or men don't want to pay it, we're not going to kick them out the door. It's just a good opportunity to do some good.
So that was the news story that broke in 2017 about Handsome Her Cafe. And they had this wonderful idea of charging men 18% more to reflect the, at that time, gender pay gap. And there were other rules. Women got priority seating. And Rule 3 was respect goes both ways, which is a strange rule because...
Except if you're a man that wants a seat.
Exactly, because the prior two rules ensure that all the respect is flowing in one direction. They subsequently dropped that rule from their board a year later. Even they probably couldn't sustain that hypocrisy in their own mind, although they're able to sustain others. Now, you and I have sat in on pitch meetings for businesses looking to raise money. How do you think this one would have gone over in a Shark Tank like situation? You know,
I doubt whether they would have got through the shortlist round.
And you know, the kind of pointed questions that, because you've got, 10, 15 minutes to ask questions. I mean, do you think, okay, we're already a niche because we're a vegan cafe, which is fine. You're in Melbourne, you've got plenty of customers.
In Brunswick, in the you know, that's the area to do it if you're going to do it.
Absolutely. So maybe not a big deal there, but you know, again, you're targeting a niche, but let's alienate the vegan half the vegan population, the male vegan population. Of course, there'll be soy boys and those that are ignorant of what the pay gap issue actually is, who are happy to comply. But then even those guys, they're thinking, I have to sit in the back like some Mississippi burning cafe in the South in the 1950s because I've got a dick?
Are soy boys actually vegans? Are they always vegans?
When I use the word soy boy, I just mean
an effeminate man.
Yeah, pretty much. Someone with a beard, wears
male.
a beanie and a scarf.
I've got a beard.
Yeah, that's not really beard, is it? It's bum
kind
fluff.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty ordinary.
Really?
It's all patchy around here. You don't even manicure. It's just scruff.
I manicured it yesterday. I used to have the full terrorist beard until I got pulled up at the airport. Then I thought,
well, you know, we don't want to give away your identity here, but I could see that you could be mistaken for
as a soy boy.
No, as a terrorist. Yeah, with a full beard.
I had a full beard and I had kind of a curly mullet as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's terrorist.
And my passport photo is actually me clean shaven with short hair. So I've got a few funny
So
looks.
you went overseas and got radicalised. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, that's right. I went to the States and I got, you know, have you ever watched Airport Security? Any of those kind of shows?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
that's some of the only reality TV I like.
So I was in the States. I was in San Francisco going through the airport and I got to the counter and I looked like shit. You know, it was a 14-hour flight. Didn't sleep. I was wearing grey tracksuit pants.
Yeah.
I looked like, you know, I had a tracksuit top. I only had a backpack because I was staying at my brother's house for a couple of months. And security guys looked at me up and down, looked at my passport photo. I'm all clean shaven, short hair. I got a massive kind of long ass mullet, huge beard, unshaven for about 3 months. He's just looked at me going, "What? Why are you coming to the States?" And I said, I was visiting my brother. He's like, "How long are you here for?" I said, 3 months, which is...
As long as it takes to put a bomb together.
Yeah, that's right. It's actually as long as the tourist visa is allowed for. So he's like, "How much money you got?" And I was like, "What do you mean, like on me right now?" And he said, "Yeah." I got like $40. So he's just like, "All right, you step to the side, and we're gonna get someone else to take a look at this." So I was just picturing that airport security show.
Cavity search.
I was sitting out the back for 3 hours. They're like, "You can't use your phone. There's no TVs. You're basically just sitting there staring at the wall." For about 2 hours.
You know, you hear these stories every now and then about people who get treated like this, and they say that I was treated like a criminal, and I couldn't do anything. It sounds exciting to me. I actually would like it. You know, I would actually like people to think that I was a terrorist because
Really?
it would just be exciting. It'd just be fun.
You think just people freaking out? You get on the plane and you're kind of a bit twitchy.
No. I mean in the back with the security. Forget. I don't.
Right.
I mean in a plane that wouldn't be good because all kinds of shit could happen, but that would go wrong. But yeah, I mean I don't know. Just harden up your soft cocks. Yeah.
I mean it was all
pulled you aside.
It was all fine. I mean the guy ended up questioning me after 2 hours and said, "What are you here for?" Yada yada. And he was just like, "Yeah, go through. No worries, mate." So I was like, "All right, cool."
So apparently we were talking about the
tangent.
the Handsome Her Cafe.
Yeah.
It was a good tangent though.
It was a good tangent. So I mean, what do you think these chicks are going to do now that their cafe's gone bust?
They told you what they were going to do in the article in news.com.au. It was a very brief little statement, but they said,
"Are they going to learn to code?"
We are off. I doubt it. They could do that. We are off to our next adventure up north, where we'll be doing some hands-on work, something we've missed sorely whilst being at Brunswick Street, which means they're off to Byron Bay to eat some hash cookies and smoke some bongs.
As long as they're not coming to the Gold Coast, as long as they stay in Byron, maybe Nimbin.
Make their own tie-dyed shirts and do all that shit.
I think the biggest issue about this cafe was the fact that everything on the menu was over $20.
Was it really?
Yeah, avocado on toast. $20. When was the last time you paid?
Is that the male menu?
Well, the male menu would be 18% more. So what's that? That's about $22. So my math's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's awful. That's more like 24.
24, right?
23.60.
When was the last time you paid $24 for avocado on toast?
I've never had avocado on toast.
But that's not quite your generation.
Well, I mean, I have had avocado on toast, but there's other things on top of it, like eggs, scrambled eggs, and bacon. And,
I'd probably nearly pay $24 for that.
Yeah, but actually, I can tell you, I went for a breakfast a couple of weeks ago, and I had scrambled eggs on toast with bacon and a little side of this like spicy tomato stuff. It was like $16, something like that. Maybe 14, something like that.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't pay that much.
Did they allow you to sit down as well?
Yeah, I could sit where I wanted to.
You could sit where you wanted to.
Well, I mean, what happened? What actually happens there? I mean, women have priority seating, but say the man, you're already there. Let's say you just happen to rock up when they open. You're the first person in, and you take the best seat in the house. And then a woman comes in. Do they come over and tap you on the shoulder and go,
"Excuse me,
can you move into the back?"
Well, I've got a suggestion for any. Well, I mean, the cafe is closed, but I mean, are they assuming your gender?
Mm.
You should just say, "Look, today I identify as a woman."
Well, yeah. I only identify as a woman when I pay bills.
Yeah, when I come to your cafe.
Yep.
Mm.
I mean, it's strange, but again, I think these people miscalculated. Getting back to the sort of the business case for this idea, I think they act as though they would, as usual. I said this in my video. Bigots cloak themselves in sort of a virtuous. We had a virtuous goal in mind. We're helping women and we're providing a space for women's issues. No, you weren't. You were trying to make money off man-hating because it's become popular. It has. It is popular.
Was PR.
And you thought you could make money off it. And it turns out they were actually surprised that people in their own community, so LGBTI vegan community, were also against them. That this just overt bigotry. I mean, think about how dumb it is, because the pay gap, it's a ridiculous statistic anyway. It's context free. It tells you nothing.
Yep.
It's like, this is what, I mean, I explain people the pay gap like this. You've got two neighbours. One's a woman, one's a man. They both have full-time jobs, and the man earns 88 grand a year and the woman earns 80. So there's a 10% difference. By the way, you know nothing else about these people. You know their sex and what they earn.
Yep. And
you're going to decide on the basis of that there's discrimination going on because the male earns 10% more than the woman. And you don't know their job. You don't know their qualifications. You don't even know how old they are. They don't know if you've changed careers mid-career. You don't know any of these factors at all, and you're going to declare that there's discrimination going on.
It's the patriarchy. Was it your video where you talked about where they actually got this 18% statistic from? It was the ABS?
Well, see, the Gender Equality Agency, which is a government-funded agency, which has over 80% of its staff are women. It's the Gender Equality Agency, Workplace Gender Equality Agency, I should say. That they run around publicising this number, and everybody, including journalists, just take it. Oh, the Workplace Gender Equality Agency says they don't calculate anything. They just go and get it from the Australian Bureau of Statistics average weekly earnings report, which comes out every 6 months. It used to come out every quarter, and it comes out every 6 months now. And in every ABS release, if anyone's ever been to them, they know there's a whole page of notes that go along with every ABS release. And if you're a nerd like me, you read them because you want to know the methodology of how they calculate stuff. And they specifically say in the notes, you cannot use these statistics to understand why there's a difference between men and women's
it said, didn't it say something like, we didn't take into account the number of hours worked or the kind of job or
compositional factors is
a whole bunch of things.
And they explicitly state you can't use this number, and yet that's what the Gender Equality Agency does. They run around using this number to say it. But I just want to give you, I think this is a sort of emblematic of this type of grievance mongering, victimhood, which is that even when you're the bully, you're the bigot, you're actually the victim. When it blows up on you, you're the victim, right? So here's their quote. When we opened Handsome Her in 2017, we expected that perhaps we might make a stir through our brazen public discussions of structural inequality and oppression. Here comes the postmodernist stuff. The man tax blew up the internet, an idea that we didn't think was all too radical, yet the way the world responded showed us how fragile masculinity is and solidified the necessity for us to confront and dismantle patriarchy. I mean, this is straight out of Gender Studies 101. It is postmodernist nonsense. We were just one little tiny shop on Sydney Road that was trying to carve out a swath of space to prioritise women and women's issues. And suddenly we became the punching bag of Melbourne and the internet. Have you seen that meme where there's a girl with a shovel throwing shit over the wall, and then the next slide is the shit coming back at her, and then she's screaming victim? I mean, that's what this is. Yeah. This is, throw a ton of shit at people, and the moment any of it comes back, I'm a victim. Yeah. That's what this is.
Well, I just love the fact that the free market sorted this out. Yeah. It's it's not just they've half the people, they've disenfranchised half the people being males from coming to this place. Most women don't like these kind of feminists either.
No.
Their core market was probably 1% of the population, and that's the reason this shithole went out of business.
Yeah, I mean, who knows at what percentage? But
are you disputing my the numbers that I'm throwing out?
I could probably push it to 2.
2, yeah.
But most women have, husbands, sons, brothers. And let's say you walk into a cafe with your son or your husband, and you sit down, you both have a coffee, and you go up to the till and go, yours comes to $10, but your husband's is actually $11.80 because he's got a dick.
And he had to stand.
Yeah. Oh, and he had to sit at a different table to you.
Most blokes would probably love that.
But even isn't that a conundrum though? Like, so women have priority seating, but what if you come in with a woman? Right? And
maybe she's got to sit on your lap.
So you can imagine.
Maybe you have to sit on her lap.
Imagine
role reversal.
Imagine if 2 women come in together, and at the same time a man and a woman come in together, then the 2 women are going to get priority seating, presumably.
Yep.
And what does that woman think? She's been treated like the male now, just by 6 degrees of separation. She's just right next to him. So by her proximity and relationship to this guy, she's now been treated like a second-class citizen.
Yeah.
They just didn't think this through, did they?
No, they didn't. I got a hot tip for you. Most women don't like other women. And I'll tell you where my research for this comes from. I used to watch Big Brother. This is where my research comes from. This is 100% accurate. I watched the first maybe 3 or 4 seasons of Big Brother back, 20 years ago. And most of the people who watch Big Brother are women. And they voted every single woman off that show, and a man won it every single time. That's where my research for this comes from.
I think the bitchiness of women's, what do you say? I think I'm trying to channel Jordan Peterson here. So male confrontation often plays out with aggression, but females is more reputational damage. And I think females are better at it. They're just, that classic sort of, one woman walks into the room and everybody goes, "Oh, you got oh, I love your shoes, or I love your new hairstyle. And then she goes to the toilet and everybody goes, oh, what did she fucking do to her hair? You know, that kind of, whereas men will sort of, like if you walk in with a weird haircut, I'll think, what did you get your money back? I mean, the barber's taking you to the
Do they
cleaners.
do men's haircuts?
Yeah, exactly. Do they have that in men's?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's,
And then you're done. You're kind of done with it.
Yeah, you're done because it's out in the open,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
You have a laugh. You
take
have
a
beer.
piss.
Yeah.
Yep. And then if you keep going on about it all day, then maybe you get a smack in the mouth.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is sort of coming on the back. I don't know if you've heard about the Jippy Goat Cafe. You've been following this one?
No.
So they were it was a cafe where they had sort of pet goats. And then,
that the vegans.
yeah, and
the
the vegans were basically just at them for months and months. And I'll read I've got a bit of the article here. It's the Jippy Goat Cafe will close for the last time within hours, with the owners blaming constant harassment by abusive vegan activists.
Yep.
Announcing their decision, the owners said closing the cafe at Yarragon was not an easy decision, but added, we do not have the heart to continue. And it comes just weeks after the Weekly Times revealed an activist was fined just $1 for breaking biosecurity laws after stealing livestock from the Gippsland farm. $1.
That's right. Yeah, they all got one. I mean, and there was a big uproar on that. I mean, from the sort of conservative side of politics saying, you know, these people have to be punished more. And I think the police did come out and then say subsequently, right, that they were going to punish them with the full if they did it again, if they reoffended.
Well, they're not going to do it again because the cafe's closed. So
yeah,
I don't care anymore.
But I didn't understand what was wrong with this cafe. They basically they had goats and they milked goats and they made real goat's milk and kids came and patted the goats. What is that now? Offensive now?
I guess so. You got to let the goats roam free.
The feeling the goats are being.
Have you ever seen a goat? How a goat dies in the real world?
Yeah, I have actually. I
usually with a dog wrapped around its neck, eating it while it's still alive.
Well, I've seen. Well, you know, there's certain ways that they slaughter animals in certain part of the world.
I'm saying, have you ever seen like how animals die in nature?
Yeah, in real,
is horrible.
It's horrific. Yeah. I mean, all of nature is horrific. That's the thing.
Except the part that we have.
Yeah, well, but isn't that's I'm going to murder this quote. Actually, I can't even think of who said it, but as a prominent lefty once said that it was a great mantra of the left that, like, you know, it's about man's life. Progress is about man's continual domination over or control of nature. And less control of man, you know, like lessening control of more freedom for mankind, which includes women, by the way, and but more control over nature. And it seems the left has flipped that script now that they want more control over people, and they want to let what's the thing I'm talking about? Nature run wild. It's just an inversion of that idea.
I think it's awesome. We're at the top of the food chain, to be honest. And I want to keep us there.
Imagine, I mean, Bill Burr, I think Bill Burr has a joke.
I think it's Louis C.K.
Is it?
Yeah.
About, running, like going to work and you're beating off cheaters.
Imagine going to the ATM and you stay in the ATM with fucking cheaters trying to take a chunk out of your leg. You're like, fuck off.
Get away. Yeah.
Oh, God, I love Louis.
Awesome.
Is he making a comeback? He sounds like he's coming back.
I thought his new stuff was great. I'm glad when it came out.
Yeah. Did you hear it on YouTube? Did you?
I made a video about it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's like, have you ever had a really, really shitty year where every day is just shittier than the next?
Like, you know, the great part of it when he goes, why the fuck am I listening to you?
Yeah.
You know, these people who've never done anything, experienced anything, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and he's exactly right. But I think, I mean,
he's talking about kids who are lecturing adults about political correctness.
Yeah. And he's a prominent lefty, and this is why. Well, this is the thing. I think if left-leaning people want to reclaim some semblance of credibility, they've got to they can't just go, all right, I'm right wing now. They've got to fight for a liberal left. You know.
Yep.
But there's not many of them actually doing that. We hope you're enjoying the podcast, and if you'd like to support us to keep it going, you can donate via PayPal at paypal.me/Men2Pod.
Microsoft announced that Marcus Persson, aka Notch, the inventor of the game Minecraft, who sold the company to Microsoft for $2.5 billion, in 2014 won't be invited to the 10th anniversary of Minecraft because of his comments and opinions, including a tweet that it's okay to be white.
Yeah, so he's not woke. He's not woke
No,
enough.
he's not. He's definitely not woke.
I've got a quote from him, and this goes back, I think, at least a couple of years. He said, "Mansplaining is a sexist term designed to silence men via gender shaming." It's perfectly accurate. That's exactly what it is. That's the way mansplaining is weaponized.
Yeah, it's pretty weird though because he's Swedish.
Yeah,
and you think the Swedish fella would be a bit more conservative in his viewpoints.
Well, I tell you why I don't think it's weird, because he's got fuck off
$2.5
money.
billion.
$2.5. Well, he must have got his ass taxed off because someone said his net worth is $1.5 billion.
Well,
now.
yeah, he would have been taxed.
Yeah,
50% of it. But
Sweden.
he actually left Sweden
Right.
he moved to Hollywood.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, he bought like a $60 million mansion
Oh, God.
in Hollywood. I don't know why he moved to Hollywood.
Well, if he's got those opinions, he's not welcome in Hollywood.
No, that's right. And he's one of his other tweets. He's got 3.7 million followers on Twitter.
Yeah, I've started following him.
Oh, you followed him because you
yesterday.
didn't even know who he was.
No, I didn't.
Do you know what
I had no
Minecraft
idea.
is?
Yeah, I know what that is, but I've never played it.
Yeah. Well, this is from a Variety.com article. It says, most recently, Notch wrote some transphobic tweets earlier this month saying that trans women aren't women and just feel that they are, comparing this to mental illness. Notch doubled down on this sentiment by tweeting more at those who disagreed with his opinion. And one of those tweets read, "You are absolutely evil if you want to encourage delusion," Notch tweeted on March 11. What happened to not stigmatizing mental illness?
I mean, the great part about this is that, he doesn't have to care ever.
He doesn't care.
I mean, look, he's got so much money, unless he somehow pisses it away magically. But it's just he can just say what he likes forever. He never has to go for a job interview ever in his life. Why does he have to care? The only thing, if he was stupid enough to run for politics, which you'd have to be an idiot to do that,
I
wouldn't you?
doubt he's going to do that.
Other than that, but why would you? But then again, I think that is if you're watching Sargon of Akkad, a.k.a. Carl Benjamin, I think there is a market for this now, this sort of, fuck you, I'm not going to play your game. I'm going to just say what I think, and you dirty smear merchants can try all you like, but the people who follow me on YouTube and the internet can find out all the sources they want, and they can check all these so-called smears for what they are.
Well, it's interesting because he doesn't, and a lot of people who are doing this now, they don't need a job.
Yeah.
Because, let's just say you're working 9 to 5
Yeah.
and you come through, you start tweeting things like this.
Yeah. Well,
You're going to be able to work in...
This is the whole problem with what I call the cult of diversity and inclusion. I mean, I literally hear from people every single week about, they send me private messages on Facebook and things about, this is happening. I put out maybe you saw the video I did on Microsoft, how they're deliberately, there's like a female James Damore in Microsoft. People writing to me every week. I just put out my newsletter yesterday, and it was from an insider at Microsoft who wrote 1,600 words on what's happening where he's working in Microsoft. He didn't tell me where. It's completely anonymous. People writing to me this stuff every week, and exactly like you say, they've got families. I had a guy come up to me in Perth at the conference I was at 2 months ago, copper, and he wanted to talk to me about the reality of domestic violence when he goes out to these situations. He's been doing it for 15 years. He's married. He's got 2 kids. He can't talk about it,
We should get him on the podcast.
Well, he was going to write me something, but
synthesize his
this
voice
is another thing. A lot of these people that come to me, and it's like a confessional for them because, I'm not going to, they know it's fine to talk to me. And they say, oh, yeah. And I say, well, write something. I'll put it out there. I'll, it'll be anonymous. No one will know where you come from. I won't even tell them what, country you live in if you don't want, or even state or whatever. And a lot of them fade away. They just they don't even want to do that. They don't even want to risk the anonymity of an article out there that someone might be able to put some association together.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I try to stay anonymous on this podcast, just in case I have to get a job again.
I'm just stupid. But
well, you don't care. You've got a YouTube channel which does all right.
Well, it doesn't.
Well,
really.
not really. I remember having an argument with a guy on a software development forum, and he was saying, when we were sort of talking about this whole gender diversity rubbish, and obviously on that forum everyone's fairly left leaning, and I'm sort of the I'm the one, crazy right winger or whatever. So, and he was saying when he hires, and I think he's either based in Canada or Sweden. He's saying when he hires people, he goes through their social media history to see if there's anything bad there, and if they're, he's saying we can't have people who don't fit in. That was his excuse.
I mean,
like saying, well,
I would say that that's now fairly standard to go through people's social media. But I mean, you're not going through their social media to find out, are they engaged in conversations about tech or showing their interest, or does what they say in the interview back up what they say online?
Yep.
No, you're going through to find opinions
exactly
that are disagreeable to the status quo in the tech.
Yeah, it's hardly diverse, really, is it? He said, he tries to. You were saying he tries to hire, a diverse range of people from different countries and backgrounds, unless you're conservative.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a survey out recently about how conservatives outnumber progressives in the United States. So, your whole argument about diversity, you're excluding a huge chunk of the population.
Yeah.
I think something like 25% say they're conservative, and then progressives this is one survey I saw, was like 18% or something. And then everybody else is sort of moderate, liberal, falls into those categories. But like
people who vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah. But then everybody, you don't have to be conservative, do you? You just have to be right of centre to be, I'm a card-carrying Republican, and maybe I believe in some sort
God
of...
and guns and... Yeah,
well, but maybe I do believe in some left-wing social issues as well, but I'm just not on board with the whole agenda.
Yep.
So, imagine he goes through and finds someone who's cheering for gay marriage and ticks off all the boxes, and then it comes to... No, but I reserve the right to own a firearm, and I carry oh, fuck, he's out.
Yeah.
Just on that.
Yeah. That's what happens. And it's happened to me as well. I mean, I've been on this software development forum now for probably 15 years, and I've basically been ostracised for posting some of this stuff. And the guy who runs it is fairly right-wing as well. And he's, I think he likes me sort of.
That's probably why you haven't been banned.
Well, that's it. That's exactly the reason why. I mean, me and him, we share a lot of libertarian ideals. He's had a go at me a couple of times that, look, just ease off with the political stuff. They got a rule there, no political discussion, because it just ends in flame war, and people are posting under their real names.
Right.
But I can't get a job with anyone who posts on that or ever again. And I don't need to get a job, thankfully. But it's just, and I've lost people who I used to be sort of friends with, or online friends or whatever. Now, just rarely talk to me anymore. It's just they just don't want to hear it.
Well, see, that's the stupidity of my situation. I do need a job, and I can't get one because of what I say.
Are people looking at your social media accounts and checking out YouTube channels?
Well, see, the funny thing is...
I'm telling you, Uber drive is your thing, man.
Oh, God.
You'd have a 1-star rating after the first day.
Yeah. What was I going to say?
No females? Was that what you're going to say? You don't pick up females?
No, well, if I was an Uber driver, God, that'd be terrible. Because if they actually asked me something, or
like what,
like a political opinion or a social opinion,
what do you think about Donald Trump?
Yeah, I would just launch in. I mean, I don't have a filter. I never have. I just I'll tell you what I think.
Sure. What? I thought you were very subtle.
And I wouldn't have, Uber. The best time to drive Uber is peak times, like Friday night, hanging outside nightclubs and things, and you got some drunk woman in the back carrying on like an idiot.
Hey,
I mean,
sounds right so far.
I have no patience for that. I mean, like, out.
You don't want some chick spewing in your backseat.
No,
no,
not even. I don't want some chick going, "Hey, where have you been tonight?" I'm just like, oh God, you
seem to have a very low opinion of girls on the Gold Coast.
I haven't. Well, I wouldn't really know.
I really never dated a girl from the Gold Coast. When was the last time you went on a date?
I have dated a girl from the Gold Coast.
How'd you meet her? Was it LDP meetup?
No. No, you're definitely not going to meet one there. Have you ever? You haven't been to an LDP bash, but it's.
Well, I've only been to the one where I met you, and there was it was me, you, and.
Oh, yeah, it was 3 of us, and there was one woman.
Yeah,
but no, there's libertarian circles are predominantly male.
Yep.
And
angry males.
And there's good reason for that, I think. We could go into that, but we're pretty far off the reservation now.
Yeah, we're talking about Notch,
Mr. Notch.
Yeah. I don't really have much more to say about Notch except I like him, and I hope he keeps posting on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love these people. They've got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
That's what I was going to say. So he's another one, Palmer Lucky. Lucky Palmer or Palmer Lucky? He was the guy who founded Oculus Rift, the VR headset. He got fired. So Facebook acquired Oculus for $1 billion in, I don't know what it was, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And Palmer stayed on as the CEO or I don't know what he was, COO. Anyway.
Yeah.
And they found out that he was actually funding these sort of right-wing meme groups on Reddit in the lead up to the 2014 election. And there was obviously some backlash within Facebook.
Right.
And so they just sacked him. They just said, we can't have this going on.
Big loss.
Yeah, he walked away with
$1 billion.
$100 million probably. I think he had 10 or 20% of the company by that stage.
I think you sleep well with $100 million.
Yeah, he cries himself to tears, wipes away all those tears with all those, $100 notes.
But then at that point, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, so how many more people are there out there who want to say things who can't?
I think there's a lot.
They got a mortgage, and they got kids, and they got to put them in private school.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who do, and they just end up, up shit creek. People who probably should learn to filter their. But I mean, that's kind of it's a sort of sad thing about modern times. Really, it's
the self-censorship is worse than the actual censorship.
That's right.
Yeah.
You should be able to say what you want to say without fear of losing your job or losing your livelihood or whatever.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting. Maybe we won't spend too much more time on it, but there's an interesting thing happening with the Israel Folau incident, where he's, basically said.
Well, should we maybe talk about who Israel Folau is?
Israel Folau is an Australian rugby union player. Some people call him our best player, and he was sacked from playing not just for Australia but the Australian Rugby Union.
He had a multi-million-dollar a year contract.
I think $4 million
to play for the New South Wales
Waratahs,
and then for Australia as well.
So he said he's a religious Christian,
devout Christian,
pretty devout. A lot of these islanders are,
yep.
And he said something about drug addicts, alcoholics, gays, atheists are all going to hell. Now, of course, no one got offended on behalf of any of those groups except for gay people.
Yep.
This is why he's been cut. The latest is they're back in negotiations and talking. But here's the big thing, because as I just said, a lot of the islanders come from countries where there is pretty strong Christianity, right? So another guy tweeted out, "You might as well sack me as well. I am not going to back down from my." He hasn't said anything incendiary. He just said, you might as well. And there's a bunch of other Islander guys who are also. And so it's coming to a head. So
and basically, Australia sucks without all of the Islanders that we brought into play for us. Yeah.
And the thing is, this is good because, I mean, I'm an atheist. And I've been told my entire life I've been going to hell, and I just laugh because I've
been telling you going to hell.
You might as well tell me I'm
Scott, you're going to hell.
You might as well tell me I'm being sent to Narnia. That's how, or Tatooine. I don't care. It doesn't faze me one
Hogwarts.
bit because you're gay. Yeah. Oh my God, it's
gay atheist. Well, I mean, it didn't. I mean, I remember watching in the interview with it was either the New South Wales coach who was saying, we just can't have these comments. We can't be offending anyone. We need everyone to support us. But it didn't stop. All of these sporting organisations coming out in support of gay marriage and potentially offending 20 to 30% of the population who don't believe it, who are offended by it.
For that's why these guys they annoy me. All corporations annoy me. They're just sticking their finger up and seeing which way the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
And they know that the wind is at the back of pro-LGBTI community. Fine. But don't bullshit us.
Yeah.
If it was 20 years ago and it was gay marriage, they wouldn't be having a bar of it because the social view then was the majority of people think no, marriage is between a man and a woman. Yeah. Even Penny Wong, the gay senator, I think back in 2008, said there shouldn't be gay marriage, and she was gay, and she's changed the tune in the last decade, and so they all just change with the winds.
Hillary Clinton was another one who famously said, in 2012 saying she was anti-gay marriage.
Yeah. None of them, they're all hypocrites. They don't have any principles. I mean, and I got into an argument actually on Twitter about this. Like someone was going, well, the rugby union can do what they want. They can say, I was like,
yeah, they can. Of course they can.
Of course they can. But that's not the point. What sort of society do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a society where your opinions can get you sacked? Is that, and of course they'll go, well, that's fine. That's the repercussions of free speech. It's like, yeah, but that's okay for you young progressive wankers. One day you're going to be 40, 50, and your opinions aren't going to be progressive anymore.
Yeah.
You're going to be on the other end of that. Yeah. And that's why it goes to that great H.L. Mencken quote, which starts off, I'm going to murder this quote, but it says something like, the problem with defending freedom is that you find yourself defending the scoundrels, because it's the scoundrels at which censorship is aimed at first.
Yeah, that's right.
And you have to nip censorship in the bud because it'll come for you eventually. And nobody gets that. It all just comes down to, I feel that's offensive, so it should be banned. Have a principle. I wish these people would read something and understand free speech, what it really means. I mean, no one needs the protection of free speech for popular opinions, for everything that you agree. Free speech, invoking the principle of free speech, is only useful for opinions that are beyond the pale.
That's right.
That are, dangerous or
well, you need to be able to.
Anti-establishment.
George Jordan Peterson saying you need to be able to offend. You need to be able to put yourself out there and offend in order to move forward and get better ideas out there, because these ideas need to be discussed. If Israel Folau believes gay marriage will end up in hell, well, let's talk about it.
And if this was 1970 and it was the Stonewall riots and we were talking about gay rights and not having coppers come in and beat the shit out of you just for being gay in a cafe, we would be in the minority, right? And we would be, and the only way these people got their rights is by using free speech.
That's
it's
right.
like
and being offensive.
They got their free speech, and then they want to pull the ladder up behind them and say, oh yeah, we've got ours now, not for anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, and then the other question that sort of begs to be answered is, who actually decides what is offensive?
Well, it's always exactly the people you don't want.
That's right.
To
I
be deciding.
don't trust anyone to be the censor.
No, I wouldn't appoint myself. No way. It's that's why you say everything goes. That's the only fair thing.
And even people talk about, well, what about if it's inciting violence or something like that?
Yeah.
Even that's fairly subjective.
I think it is too, because if I said on this podcast, hey, I think you should go out and smash up every person that's driving a blue car, you should drag them from the car and beat the shit out of them, because blue cars are a danger and a menace to society. Now, if you actually go and do that, I don't see how that's on me. You're a moron.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of morons out there, though. That's the problem.
Well, I do think it scales with power. I mean, if Donald Trump said that, maybe some people would actually do that.
Well, I mean, people are saying that, his comments on the Charlottesville thing are, taken out of context were, promoting white supremacists and all sorts of shit. It's just, where does it end?
His problem was that he was just being even-handed and saying, look, there's shit on both sides. And it was probably like...
Well, he said there's good people on both sides. That was the comment that was taken out of context.
Yeah, and which is a perfectly, accurate thing to say, but it probably wasn't the best thing to say in that moment.
No, he says a lot of stupid shit, to be honest. I mean, he says a lot of dumb stuff, and people, they... Yeah. But still, if you had to ask for a politician who says smart stuff all the time but does nothing, like
that's
Obama,
the thing. Going back
versus Trump, who says a lot of dumb shit, but he actually gets stuff done.
Well, this is this whole problem with liberals were going on. They seem to quieten down on this about how what about Obama? He was so eloquent and articulate, and and poised and all this.
May or may not have a penis.
But at the end of the day, you've got at some point you've got to get pragmatic and say, okay, what did Obama's presidency achieve, and what has Trump's achieved? So far.
Yeah.
In the you can't objectively sit back and just say, well, Obama's presidency was wonderful because he could talk better. That doesn't help people.
No.
I mean, well, you've got the lowest unemployment rate in the US since 1969 or something.
Yeah, wasn't there some quote about a magic wand? Trump was saying, we're going to get the economic growth up to 3 or 4%, and Obama's like, as if, what kind of magic wand are you using? And now,
the thing about that is he did get it up there, but temporarily it's back down again.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
But I mean, I think we've said this before. If he can hold the economic record together, then 2020 looks like a shoo-in.
Yeah, unless the Democrats can actually get a decent candidate up there. But I mean, at the moment they're all terrible. I mean, who would you vote for out of the a lot of Democrats? I mean, you got socialist Bernie, fucking communist.
I put out a video the other day about I called it Battle of the Wokest.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you have to self-flagellate on the altar of woke progressivism and intersectionality. It was a beautiful article. This guy said basically the more intersectionality points you have, the more credit you have, but the lower you are on that scale, so white, old, straight male, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, the more apologies you have to make. You have to constantly be apologising for your own existence. And it sets up
Joe Biden's ever apologised for anything, has he?
Oh, he recently apologised for the way he treated Anita Hill in the Anita Hill thing. He did apologise for the creepiness. He said he would... He didn't really apologise.
He more said
he would modify his behaviour or something. Something like that. But you're going to see this. And he just hired Simone Sanders, who says that she doesn't think white people should be in the leadership of the Democratic Party. I mean, how self-effacing is that? You just, I mean...
It's kind
incredible.
of fun watching them destroy themselves, though.
It is. That's what I think. The memes over the next 18 months and just watching Democrats, implode. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't like any of them. I think Cory Booker is a slime ball.
Yeah, he's a vegan as well.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Could there be any...
black vegan? he's up there pretty high. If he was a woman, he'd be probably the number one candidate.
Yeah, Kamala I don't know. I think Kamala Harris is just because of who she is.
A gun-toting prosecutor who jailed.
Yeah, she's got enough. She's got the
dealing
intersectionality
weed.
Points. She's got she used to be a prosecutor. She's got these.
She's pretty. I think she's fourth or fifth now in the polling. Isn't she?
If you look at the polling, Biden's in front, and I think Bernie's second, and it's been that way all year.
Yeah, it just goes to show there's still a lot of centrists on the left.
Yeah,
the majority of them are centrists.
Yeah, well, that's like, as we said before. I mean, the progressives are the true progressives. The psycho-progressives are a small minority, really. Yeah. But they're the loudest.
How white is Joe Biden's teeth? Did you see his last video? It's absolutely like he's at a tan job and then he's got his teeth whitened and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Do you remember Mozillo? The guy who used to run Countrywide Financial before the financial crisis.
I don't know any of those
words. They just called him the Tan Man. He was just he did this ridiculous, he just came out of a tanning salon every single day and he had these gleaming white teeth. He's a ridiculous man. And he sold his company, who did he sell Countrywide to? Merrill Lynch or somebody? And just, of course, he sold it perfectly and walked away with hundreds of millions of dollars and then it just imploded.
Nice. So what are we saying? Don't trust people with really white teeth?
Yeah, don't trust white teeth people, but do trust people like Notch who've got billions of dollars and don't have to give a fuck.
Exactly, yep.
So, Not Gay James Faulkner. So Australian cricketer James Faulkner posted on Instagram a photo of himself out to dinner with his mother and another young man, and this is what the title of his post said. Birthday dinner with the boyfriend and my mother, Rosalind Carol Faulkner. 3 love hearts, #together for 5 years. So what do you think happened, Mick?
I don't know. Did people assume that he was gay maybe?
They did. A lot of people assumed that.
And they were very impressed that he came out finally. Another famous sportsman coming out as gay.
Yep. So the panel of Channel 9's Today Show praised Faulkner's post as a historic moment, being the first public declaration by a male Australian cricketing representative. I mean, plenty of Australian male sportsmen have said they're gay, but...
Who?
About Ian Roberts. I mean, he was doing it 20 years ago. 20 years ago?
A footballer.
Manly footballer.
Oh, I don't know then.
The Sydney Morning Herald said it was an unprecedented move in Australian men's sport. Unprecedented move.
Yeah,
Double entendre. The ABC had a headline that read, Faulkner announces 5-year same-sex relationship, and The Guardian ran a similar headline. Now, here's the catch, though. Not one of these mainstream media outlets called Faulkner to confirm the story.
Wow. Journalism. How many years do journalists have to go through university before they actually get a job in journalism?
Because... let's say, and I don't follow cricket, right? I didn't even know this guy's name. I can't name one person in the Australian cricket team because I don't watch cricket. I I used to love cricket as a kid. I find it boring now. Maybe that's the digital
Is that
age.
because Australia's losing a lot?
I didn't even know they were losing. I literally don't know anything about cricket these days.
Did you stop watching after David Boone retired?
Probably before then.
That was like
I was brought up.
1978.
Hey, I was brought up on
Lillian
Dennis Lilly, Thompson.
Yeah, righto.
It was Rod Marsh, Graham Wood, Kim Hughes, Alan
Guys
Border.
with impressive
No, but
moustaches.
Look, I went to the SCG in about 2000 and watched Gilchrist smash the ball around. He smashed a 50 in about 25 balls or something. It was great. But, yeah, I've just lost interest for whatever reason. Now, so they didn't ring him up and confirm the story. Because you would think, like, okay, here's a Australian high-profile sportsman. No one had any suspicions that he's gay, and now here he is saying he's gay. And wouldn't you think, is he joking? Like, what, can we confirm that? I mean, let's find that. No, let's just leap on it.
Yeah,
let's just leap on
First
it. First
in, best dressed. It's the usual clickbait stuff.
But I also think it's the fetishization of identity that this is marvelous.
People wanted it to be true.
They want it to be true so desperately, and so his. He put this on Instagram, so it got loads of likes and comments. Congratulations. Oh, it's so brave and wonderful, and all this. And so then he put this out. He did it at night, and I think maybe it wasn't until the next morning, or maybe it was later on that night, that he came out and he put another post out saying, there seems to be a misunderstanding about my post from last night. So he must have done it in the morning. I'm not gay. However, it's been fantastic to see the support from the LGBT community. Let's never forget, love is love. However, Rob, that's the guy
he's not gay boyfriend,
is just a friend. Last night marked 5 years of being housemates. Good on everyone for being so supportive. They're not just housemates, it's his business partner as well.
Oh,
so
right.
they live in the same house.
So it is his partner, just not his bum partner.
Yeah.
So can we say bum partner on the podcast?
Well, you did.
Do I need to cut that out? I might need to cut that out. It just came out. I can't help it.
Yeah, what else came out? Jeremy
That's
Arnold.
What he said.
Jeremy Arnold of Cricket Australia. Let me start again. Jeremy Arnold of Cricket Australia Communications clarified the context of the post, saying it was a joke about how much time Faulkner and Mr. Jubb had spent together in their business relationship. They are business partners of 5 years. They are not in a relationship. It was a joke about how much time they've been spending together working over the past 5 years. James is not gay. And that's the end of Mr. Jeremy Arnold, Cricket Australia Communications. Now, can you guess what his error, what his sin was in that statement?
I don't know. What?
He said it was the use of the word joke. Because the offenderati then kicked into gear, didn't they? So I'll give you a taste of the comments. What a disgrace, making a joke of coming out as if cricket in Australia wasn't already a national shame.
How's cricket a national shame?
Because of the ball tampering scandal.
Oh, right.
See, I do know something about cricket.
Yeah, right.
Disappointing that you and your cricketing mates can make a joke out of what is a struggle for many. Mm-hmm. Next time you post a joke, try to make it funny and not an insult to a community. It's a shame you think it's okay to mock GLBTIQ relationships. I have removed my like. Young people who are struggling with their sexuality.
Hitting where it hurts.
Yeah. This is what happens on YouTube. People say, unsubscribed with an exclamation mark. Okay, good. Like thousands of other people have. Good one. Young people who are struggling with their sexuality might have seen the hope and support in your post. It's not a joke. You're the joke. Your mother must be so proud. So
I'm sure she is. The guys that plays cricket for Australia. I bet she's very proud.
So then Cricket Australia public relations kicked into gear. Of course, it's a national emergency.
Yeah, let me guess. They're going to be wearing rainbow ribbons at the next test match.
Probably. They rushed out another statement. Cricket Australia does not consider the social commentary this morning from James Faulkner to be a joke. Nor does James. So apparently James, two people have now said complete opposite things. Yeah. His comment was made as a genuine reflection of his relationship with his business partner, best friend and housemate of 5 years. He was not contacted for clarification before some outlets reported his Instagram post as an announcement of a homosexual relationship. Mm-hmm. James and CA Cricket Australia are supportive of the LGBTI community and recognises coming out can be an incredibly emotional time. The post was not in any way meant to make light of this, and though the support from the community was overwhelming and positive, Cricket Australia apologises for any unintended offence.
And again, it's just another reason to not go on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, they've taken one word that's, some pleb at Cricket Australia's written, and just the offence mob has just come out.
It's
And they made a mistake. They shouldn't have apologised. They should have just said, it's
a joke, grower.
Yeah,
well, actually,
that's what I should have said.
I should say there was plenty of people on the Instagram post, including gay people, saying you're being snowflakes. Like here's one. For a community that has endured more hardship than most, I'm amazed at how lacking in resilience most of you are. Grow up and stop taking offence at everything. There was a lot of comments like that.
Yeah, right.
Quite frankly,
that's good.
Which is good. But I think there was just so much vitriol coming in. And I mean, I think the reason, like, people are probably thinking, why are you talking about this? It's kind of stupid. And yeah, it is stupid. But
that's the point.
The point is, this is identity politics on steroids. It's the fetishization of identity. A famous man came out as gay. Isn't it amazing? No, it isn't. It's not. It's not amazing at all. This is not the 1970 Stonewall riots. You live in a country where people overwhelmingly voted for gay marriage. You don't live in fear for your life. You don't. And like any identity, your sexual orientation, your race, your ethnicity is not an achievement. It's not special.
Yeah, it's boring.
It is boring.
Yeah.
It's the least interesting thing about you. It's like you're gay. Oh, it's like saying you're left-handed.
Yeah.
I have to play a slice down the fairway instead of a draw. Yeah. That's all it means. Who cares? Yeah. Tell me something interesting. Tell me an opinion you have. Being gay is so utterly passé. Yeah. Can we get over it?
I'm still amazed that people literally hang on the words of sports people. Like, these are people who basically, they get paid millions of dollars to hit a ball or put a ball in a hole or throw a ball in a hoop.
Yeah.
And like we're hanging on.
And we expect their pronouncements to be...
we expect them to be, these...
role models.
Yeah,
You've got these 19-year-old kids playing rugby league getting a couple of $100,000 a year and they text a nude picture of a girl that they slept with one night. And, everybody loses it and this is horrible, terrible behaviour. It's like they're 19-year-old blokes in the prime of their life. They've got women throwing themselves at them. They're getting paid $300,000 a year. Of course they are. Yeah. This is a new sort of prudery,
Yeah, I don't understand why these people are role models. Or why the media puts them up as being role models. They're not role models.
And this is another part of the sort of... the funny thing is 30, 40 years ago, this sort of prudery would be coming from conservative Christian right-wingers. Now it's coming from the left wing, which is strange.
Teenagers.
It's really bizarre, this sort of inversion. Yeah. But, again, I thought if you go back to sort of Martin Luther King and that ideal of judging people the content of their character, your race, gender, these are minor genetic variations that we shouldn't pay any attention to. It's who are you as a person? What are your achievements? What is your contribution to society? These are the things that are important.
I hit a ball with a piece of wood into a fence. That's my contribution to society. And I make $1 million a year. James Faulkner. Not gay James Faulkner.
Not gay James Faulkner.
Yeah. All right.